Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing the dual slalom at Crankwork. We're doing the Crankworks Air DH today, down Mr. Black. Today is the Eliminator race. Today we're doing the 25k at the Waka 100. We have our race run at the Crankworks downhill. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm an amateur mountain biker, BMX rider, and for the last couple of years I've been riding this Polygon T7, and I'm going to go in depth on how it went across multiple different disciplines. So I brought this bike a couple years ago in 2021, about in October-ish, and then I've been riding it pretty much on and off each week since. I paid about $2,700 for this bike, got it from Evo. It was one of the last ones in stock back then. I got the medium with 27.5 inch wheels since I was used to smaller bikes from going from BMX, so I thought this would be a perfect bike to get back into mountain biking and see where it takes me. Right, so first thing I want to talk about is how well this thing hits the dirt jumps and kind of just big trail jumps. So I took this bike to Skyline a few times and hit all those jump tracks, heaps of fun. Just set the bike up kind of on the softer side, and I was running flats pretty much the first full year since I owned the bike, and I think it really helped with just learning how to jump and ride the bike safer, so when I went to clips I was already comfortable on the bike, but managed to hit some really big jumps. Didn't have to change too much else with the bike setup. I put the handlebars about mid-height, and I've only cut down about 20mm off each side of the handlebars just to bring it in a bit more since they're a bit wide. Still got the stock tires and everything, so pretty much didn't have to do much to set it up to go dirt jumping, and it seemed to handle it really well. The only problem is I'm not used to jumping with full suspension coming from BMX, so I tend to forget to preload the suspension before the takeoff and ended up nosediving a lot of big jumps, so I really need to tidy that up hopefully this year. So I got this bike with intentions of doing heaps of events in multiple different disciplines. So I started off doing my first cross-country eliminator race and cross-country 25km race at the Waka 100, and I didn't have to change too much to set this bike up. I pretty much raised the seat up a bit more, dropped the handlebars down lower so I could get just a better climbing position. Had to pump up the tires and pump up the suspension, and then I ended up swapping to clips for this. I didn't have much luck in the eliminator race as I ended up sliding out and crashing in my qualifying run, but I don't think the bike held me back too much in that event. I think if I just rode a bit safer and smarter, I would have qualified through into the finals. And then for the 25km race, the bike ran really well through there. The weight was a bit on the heavier side as opposed to if you were like on a cross-country bike. You can see at the start of the race I pretty much got gapped because we went straight into a first climb and I just didn't have the legs to keep up with them. But then about midway through, where the bike is more set up for the more rougher style tracks, the grade 3s, grade 4s, that's where I kind of clawed back through. And I ended up finishing that race with about 20th place, so pretty stoked with that. I decided to enter myself in for dual slalom at Crankworks last year, just doing the amateur, like the 19 plus open. First time I've ever done something like this. I thought it would be very cool since I've got a BMX background. There's a lot of pumping and jumps, got a gate start, but then it's on the bigger bike, so thought this could actually be a really good event for me, so I had a lot of fun here. Got the Polygon T7 out there all ready to go. Probably just pumped the tires up a bit stiffer, but we got practice going down now. Got all the camera stuff, got some strength for later, bikes all ready. So now I've got to bike over to the course. Alright, so this is first run of practice, going down the left side of this track. Kind of had to just cruise through this section, feel out the track, pump through these doubles, test out these berms, see what the bike can handle. Real intimidating trying to dive into these. Tabletop here, double, it's into this real slippery slalom bit where a lot of people went down here. Seeing if there was any traction at all, pumping through nearly slid out there. Going onto the right side, decided to go a bit faster, try to pump through these berms, hit this double, ended up over jumping so I couldn't get the next one. It's all good though, it's just practice. Pump through here, decided to hit this tabletop, and I went a bit offline here onto the other trail, so that would have got me disqualified, but this is just practice, so just chilled through here, zigzagged down, trying to see if there's any grip at all. Ended up getting really good gate starts, but then when it came to the slalom side of things, trying to get traction down on flat turns, really struggled there. Possibly it could be just the tyre setup that I was running. These are still the stock tyres, and I couldn't really get comfortable with committing to these flat turns, so it's another thing I can learn from for next year if I go to compete again. Alright, so this is my qualifying run on the left side. So we've got 2 qualifying runs, 1 on each side, and then a total time goes towards your seeding. So this is pretty much an all-out sprint from me, manualing through, diving into these berms, hitting this section as hard as I could. It had been raining, so this was the extra slippery. Ended up getting beaten by the guy next to me who was also qualifying. And we switch over to the right side. It is raining a bit now, so make it even more slipperier than it already was. Felt like this side was a lot faster for me, so I got to hit this section. Got both doubles, railed through these berms, scrubbed the tabletop, pumped through here, and then I think the flats would have been a lot better for this race if I knew it was going to be raining, so I could have just put out through here, would have helped a lot. But I ended up qualifying through into the brackets, and then on the first couple races I was up for the first half of the track, and then when it came to the end got passed before the line, so
the final day of
pouring down.
the final day of the World Tour.
Got a couple qualifying runs in, and then went up for I think round of 8, and still waiting for that, but it's pouring down, so not sure what's happening.
Random start. Riders ready, watch the gate. Ready, watch the gate.
Ended up getting knocked out on the first final. Kind of was expecting, since I didn't really train for this, first time doing it, but still think the bike was really good for that. If I put on more aggressive tyres for flat turns, I think I might have made it through a couple more rounds. So I've given more enduro style riding a go on this bike over in Rotorua and at Summerhook. I think it performs really well throughout those types of track, mainly like the grade 4 style tracks where you can just let the bike do its thing, have the suspension on the softer side, and it soaks up a lot of extra bumps. It's just that when it comes to the pedaling side, you lose a lot of pedal power through this bike being a bit heavier, so you have to kind of work a bit more than you would if you were on like a 29er enduro bike. But I got this bike with intentions of making it the best all-round trail bike, mountain bike there is, so I think it's lived up to that. So one of the cooler things I ended up doing with this bike was doing the Crankworx DH in the Redwoods Forest last year, and very intimidating going to my first ever downhill race. I've got only 150mm travel on the front, 27.5 inch wheels, very much on the smaller side, out of my comfort zone a lot, but had a lot of fun giving that a go. The course was actually set up really well, where there was a lot of B-lines, and the jumps were a lot smoother than I was expecting from watching other downhill races. So really cool to dip into like a different discipline of riding and get to try out a whole range of things with this bike. So pretty stoked that it didn't really hold me back from getting out there and riding, and especially with the price, makes it super affordable to get out there and just do as much riding as you can. I've learned a lot since owning this bike, and I think it's progressed my riding. Can't thank this bike enough, and it's pretty much started this whole YouTube channel, which I'm going to try continue moving forward. There was a couple extra jumps that I want to try to do with this bike, but I'm not sure if it's capable of doing them, and my skill level's kind of outgrown this bike at the moment to where I keep crashing when I push this bike too hard, because it just gets over that comfort zone of how the bike's set up to ride. So I think it is time to move on to something bigger and better, something faster that I can compete at a higher standard with. So I'm really looking forward to that, and hope you guys enjoyed this full series of reviewing this Polygon T7 and getting back into mountain biking and trying to do as many events as we can, because I do want to do a lot more events in the future. So hope you guys like those style of videos. If you are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, really appreciate it, helps the channel grow, and then we can get more content out of this and more racing, try to get to the world stage. So over the couple years I've owned this bike, I haven't had to replace too much things. Pretty much started off with just chucking on new grips to get a better feel for the bike. I've recently gone tubeless, the same tyre setup, just to run a bit lower pressure, get a bit more grip. And then I've also just replaced the chain recently, just the other one got a bit stretched and a bit old, so helped with the tuning up of the gears. And then the rest of the bike is pretty much still stock standard, still running like the same brake pads and everything, so which I think do need to be replaced about now. But a couple years, super low maintenance on this bike, been riding it as hard as I can every other week, just been going 20k's at least riding this bike. One of the best value bikes for money out on the market at the moment.